Dean Kim is head of global research product at William O'Neill and Companies with us here on the program. Dean, good to have you with us here. Thank you very much for your time. You just heard Alex Redmond of CLSA saying the market is despairing of its own sort of eagerness, and then kind of it gets disappointed along the way. But his view is the process of disinflation is underway. It'll take maybe a little longer, but it's very surely underway. Just wanted your thoughts on the context of the CPI beat. I mean, there are others who argue that the CPI is not a one-off. It follows a long list of, very strong beats on other data fronts. So it's not a one-off. It's a debate which is ongoing. Where do you stand on it?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly was a disappointing print, and we saw this VIX spike yesterday. But it's good to see the VIX kind of settle down today, which led to a positive day. But I do agree that overall we are making progress in terms of inflation. I think the key number is going to be the PCE number that's going to come towards the end of the month. And the Fed has previously relied on PCE, but has recently sort of gone to other data points. But I think PCE is going to be pretty critical. We are going to see jobless claims numbers tomorrow, and then PPI coming in on Friday. So we'll see what happens, but that may add a little bit of volatility to the market. But if you look at the overall trajectory of where inflation is headed, we are on a downward slope. Don't forget, beginning of last year, we were at around 8%. We're something like 3.5% now. So we've made significant progress, and I think the rate cut scenario is still on the table. That picture continues to be pushed out, but we still do believe that Fed is going to be cutting rates sometime in the second half.
All right, Fed is going to be cutting rates sometime in the second half of the year. Got that. Dean, hi, morning. I'm more interested in what's happening in India, right? Because we've been in this range with 22,000 as a bit of a ceiling for the market. Do you think in the next couple of weeks or months, the market could take that level out? And what is the near-term outlook on the Nifty?
Yeah, it's if I look at the Sensex, it's a very interesting looking chart. The Sensex has done a great job hovering around the 50-day moving average, or between 21 and 50-day. But I do notice a sort of a compression volatility type pattern forming, so meaning higher lows and lower highs. At some point, the market's going to have to make a decision. Do we punch through that and make new highs, or do we fail here and go below? When I look at earnings growth of Indian companies, very strong. For this year, I think the market is expecting north of 15% earnings growth. So a lot of good fundamentals all around India. One thing I do notice is the bond yield for India. It has flattened over the past month, which is quite interesting. So the 2 to 10-year yield gap is only sitting at something like 1 or 2 basis points. It was something like 14, 15 basis points a month ago. So that's kind of interesting. I think we have to keep an eye on that and make sure that we don't invert. But that's something that I've noticed recently.
All right. Hi, Dean. Good to see you in. What about individual stocks? The last time we chatted about HDFC Bank, Chola Finance was another stock that you were looking at. I think you all were quite positive out there. Anything new on the list? And what's the view on HDFC Bank? It's just been moving down.
Yeah, first of all, I am seeing a lot of sort of decent setups in sort of basic material, cap equipment space. Companies like Tata Steel, BASF, and Ambuja, Steel Authority of India, Motherson Sumi, companies like that. Early stage breakouts looks pretty favorable. And then you have on the financial side, the state bank or public banks, they have been performing very well. Some of them are extended. We do see some opportunity in Indian Bank, New India Assurance, Central Depository Services. Now, in terms of the private banks, in the case of HDFC, I think it's a sort of concern, perhaps from foreign investors when they're looking at India. As I've mentioned, the yield curve is flattening, so that may be a signal for them to trim positions in India for now. But you know, that flattening of the yield curve can also be reflective of upcoming elections. And so once that sort of uncertainty is out of the way, perhaps the yield curve starts to steepen, and that may start to attract foreign investors. So I would be patient with HDFC and other private sector banks. You know, we just need to wait for the stock to sort of reclaim the 200-day moving average, but that may take a little bit of time.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dean, for joining in and giving us your view on the markets. Well, let's